Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction for Boku no Hero Academia chapter 337, and the last few chapters, especially last chapter, they've been incredible, so yeah, I'm assuming that quality is going to stick around, trying my best to not say, oh, I'm so excited to read. Um, but yeah, generally I kind of feel like the sort of war arc was really, really good. It was good on the week to week, but a lot of times I found myself being like, we gotta wait and see what happens next week. We gotta wait and see what happens next week. Um, and so, like, because of that, it's even better going back and rereading it, like marathoning through it. It's even better. So that was really good. And then we got into this. I've always called it post time skip. I mean, I guess technically it kinda is. But we got into that stuff, and week after week, the chapters were incredibly good. Um, and that continued on for a while. And then, I'm not going to lie to you, the Shigaraki All for One versus Star and Stripe stuff kind of took me out of it a bit, where I'm just like, okay, I'm very, very meh on this. I'm just not emotionally invested in it. And since we've cut back away from that, things have been great, just sailing really high once again. Um, and I think too, it's because like as I was like, I'm just really not invested in this Star and Stripe versus Shigaraki All for One stuff. It's not hitting me emotionally. I wasn't feeling that, but it was another thing where like the people in my comments didn't really seem to be feeling it either. The people that I watch talk about Hero Academia weren't really feeling it. And that kind of thing can affect your perception of something too. Like there are times when I'm like maybe not feeling something, but because everybody else is so hyped up about it, they kind of like win me over. Or even times when, the opposite can be true as well, where I'm enjoying something, but if everybody in my comments is just constantly shit talking it and everyone I watch doesn't like it either, that can sort of like color your perspective of something too. So it can work negatively as well, but it was just one of those things where I was meh on it, everybody I talked to was meh on it, and so for a good few weeks there, as much as I love Hero Academia and the art was insanely good, I was just not really feeling that. So it's great to be out of that and back into stuff that I feel like has been just insanely good every single week. So let's go ahead and see what 337 has to offer us. Friends to spare, huh? Aren't we screwed if one of your friends gets caught, says Dabi. Not in the least. So, that worries me. Does he have some, like kill switch, some sort of, like, dead switch or something that he can pull on Aoyama? Say your 100 yen lighter fizzles out. What would you do? When my friends succeed, I rejoice. Should they fail, I think, oh, what a shame. And after that brief disappointment, I set move on to the next variable, or the next viable route for my plan. Alright. And again, I love that we're seeing this, as he's explaining this, we're seeing this panel of Spinner with Shigaraki. Again, some of the people like Spinner not really actually being loyal to All for One, but rather to Shigaraki. I think it's just more foreshadowing for the eventual turn. They're less like friends and more like disposable tools, and I say hip hip hooray for any slight excitement they can inflict. Run away, Yuga! Hold on, Maman, Papa, or are his parents the one? So his quirk is naval laser maybe, but maybe they had a quirk implanted that's sort of like a kill switch. My being quirkless caused you no small amount of dismay. Both of you came from wealthy, privileged families, and never wanted for anything in your own upbringings. And the two of you fretted over my being different from the other children even more than I did. That's why, hoping against all hope, and wishing only for my happiness, you dared to believe a dubious rumor. They say he can give quirks to others. I suffered at the hands of my new quirk, which was a poor fit for my body. Ah, man, I love the way Horikoshi's been writing this, like even giving an explanation for what we knew all along, his quirk not being a good fit for his body. Well, you, Maman, and Papa grappled with your own angst as you raised me. Because you so feared my being different. My own dream sprang from that desire to conform. Yes, at some point, I hope to give back, as you too had done so much for me. So, you will be attending UA. They say All Might has been hired to teach at the school. Alright, so I think I read that backwards, so you'll be attending UA. Acting in service of others? Inform me when your class is going to be isolated. In pursuit of their happiness, tell me the location of your training camp. Giving of myself for everyone else's sake. Now that Izuku Midori has returned to UA, lure him somewhere alone. That note you left? When I learned that you, like me, were born quirkless, I fell into utter despair. Quit it, Aoyama. Navel, one for all. Laser. Oh? And it gets refracted by Hagakure. Again, Hagakure screen time! My body lets me refract light. We could have been killed time after time, and now all of Japan is like totally messed up. Oh man, and we're seeing a bit of her face. Holy shit. I got chills. What was going through your head this whole time in school with us? Living in the dorms with us even. Well, say something, Aoyama. You have it wrong. Our dear Yuga only ever... And then Izuku grabs them all with Black Whip. Listen, Aoyama, Hagakure just did you a favor. She doesn't want you hurting anyone else, okay? So come on. Enough. Let's stop this. Just let this be over. And Izuku's crying too. I'm getting emotional. Jeez. I got the gist. Now we have Tsukauchi, one of my favorites. He gave the boy a quirk and took control of the family. President Mike's hair going crazy in that panel. Like, hold up. Like, I guess it was kind of difficult to draw because of the angle and the speech bubble being there, but damn. The quirk granted about a decade ago. The quirk was granted about a decade ago. The fact that the kid's sitting here in one piece tells us that he's not rigged to blow in case of betrayal, the way Nagant was. May I ask you children to leave the room, says Nezu. No, you may not, says Shoto. Man, this makes no friggin' sense. I love seeing all the different reactions on their faces. What were you planning if Hagakure hadn't caught you? Come on, Aoyama, tell us it's all bullcrap, dude. And I love Kirishima not swearing is like so great. That's so Kirishima. Another one of us who started out quirkless. Small world, huh? Sadly, we're still struggling to restore law and order, so you need to tell us every last thing you know about All for One. We know nothing. He makes his requests and we obey. That's all, says Aoyama's father. Should we fail, he'll kill us. If we lie to him, we're dead. Kill you? How? He gave us a demonstration of what happens to those who defy him. It was some lackey who'd surrendered to the police. They were killed soon after leaving prison, so they couldn't escape him. Wherever we run, he'll find us, and make us face our doom. Yuga had no way of knowing what would happen. Each time he followed those orders, he only knew that he mustn't fall under suspicion. We're the ones to blame. What was going through your head this whole time in school with us, he thinks. Your deaths could very well have been on my head, and yet I found myself smiling alongside you all, as if we were truly friends. Then we learned Midoriya was also once quirkless, yet he faces the crushing task that is standing up to All for One. I despaired when I realized how pathetic I am compared to him. Rather than express concern for Midoriya, I wallowed in my own misery, which sent me spiraling even deeper. I'm rotten, to the core. I, Yuga Aoyama, am a villain through and through. Oh, yet, then why did you try and save Kacchan and Tokoyami back in the forest? And then we get flashed back to that. And the cheese you left me that night? Did All for One tell you to do that, huh? Of course not. I'm kicking myself for not realizing that was That was your SOS to me. And the reason you're bawling your eyes out right now clearly isn't because you failed All for One. I happen to know a hero who got manipulated by him, but even she didn't sell her whole soul. Her spirit was crushed, that's all. Midoriya, kid, if I had known, maybe things would have worked out differently. Doing wrong doesn't make you a villain for the rest of your life. And again, I really, really like that because it keeps continuing on with the message throughout the entire series of there's a fine line, like a very, very thin line between somebody becoming a hero. I don't want to say a thin line between hero and villain because, like, there are some really evil villains generally, and, like, most heroes aren't terrible people. Even if some could potentially be. But there's a thin line in what makes somebody decide to be a hero or what makes somebody decide to be a villain. The whole "it only takes one bad day" thing. Take my hand, Aoyama. If nothing else, we can choose how to enter this fight. Deku, I get it now. You can still be a hero. And again, it makes a lot more sense to work with Aoyama. And I think Bakugo's piecing that together as well. Man, what a great chapter again. Again, it's kind of one of those things where it's like I can't comment too much on it more than I already have while reading through, just because we're at a point where I just need to wait and see what happens next. I just gotta wait and see how it goes. But as far as this chapter alone, it was insanely good. I absolutely loved it. So, yeah, that is it for this week. It carried on with a lot of the great themes that the series has been doing so far, and had a lot of great character work, a lot of calls back to previous things that have happened and just small details, and a lot of small hints that I feel like, oh, this is going to be important later, that's going to be important later, just like with the specific line at the beginning that All for One was saying, paired with seeing again Shigaraki injured in pain on the ground and Spinner tending to him, just showing again, because we've seen that building in the background, that Spinner, and I would argue probably all of the League of Villains characters, they're loyal to Shigaraki. They're not loyal to All for One. And the fact that as all this happens, we see that their personalities and Shigaraki's body might be merging, but if somehow or another Shigaraki's win wills out there, I really feel the turn coming, you know what I mean? And that doesn't mean they're going to turn on him and become good guys. They could turn on him and become their own, even bigger, badder villains. And this is all part of their villain academia. But, yeah, I totally see that turn coming eventually. But either way, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Like if you did like the video. Again, I love Hagakure getting screen time here. Seeing her face gave me chills. Oh, there was so much good emotional stuff. Comment down there. Tell me what you thought of the chapter and my thoughts and reaction. Subscribe for more Hero Academia, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. If you'd like a link to the Discord server, just ask and I'll give you a link. If you want to help support the channel on Patreon, it is patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description. Either way, that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.